Welcome to Imagination Therapy. Why the title Imagination Therapy? That's an easy answer. Imagination is everything. Our stream of consciousness, that ongoing conversation we have with ourselves, the narrative of our lives is a product of our imagination. Watch the first 3 videos of this presentation. You'll remember what you hear for the rest of your life. Allow me to start by sharing the story of a man who took his dim-witted brother-in-law to retrieve his car, which was in the shop for a taillight repair. To ensure the repair had been made, the man asked his brother-in-law to stand at the back of the car. He pushed down the turn signal and asked his brother-in-law if the taillight was working. The dim-witted, unimaginative reply came, yes, no, yes, no. It's a defective imagination that limits our ability to make proper associations. You may have heard this quote, "Life is hard because courage is knowing it might hurt and doing it anyway, and stupidity is no different." Only a healthy imagination can make the distinction. C.S. Lewis said, "Reason is the natural organ of truth. Imagination is the natural organ of meaning." He goes on to say, "The health of our collective imagination determines the condition of truth in a society." To confirm or deny the validity of Mr. Lewis's observation, let's consider some phenomena we've all witnessed. We can all agree that political polarization is at historic levels in America today. The right's baffled by the left's inability to discern the obvious, the left no less so. Yet you can't tell the difference between a Republican and a Democrat by looking at their SAT score. So if a distinction can't be made by measuring intelligence, then what's the measuring stick? If you believe Mr. Lewis, then the difference is in imagination. That's the distinctive. The left's not going to educate the right out of their perspective, nor is the right going to educate the left out of their perspective. When this deep polarization is considered with other profound changes in the American perspective, it's fair to conclude some aspect of human nature is being exploited, which is unacknowledged or at least unnamed. There are beliefs held by many Americans that 20 years ago would have been labeled lunacy without debate. Not only is the formerly absurd now widely accepted by many, that acceptance has come about in record time. An objective person would expect there to have been some scientific breakthrough or discovery that would have precipitated such a monumental change. Yet no such breakthrough or discoveries has occurred. New perspectives seem to have come out of the ether at lightning speed. Certainly social media is a large part of that ether. But what's coming out of social media that has affected the collective American imagination so profoundly? It's only rational to conclude that there's some aspect of human nature on dramatic display which isn't understood or it's not being talked about. What aspect of human nature has social media been able to leverage so effectively? It's an incredibly important question. To understand what's happening, it's imperative to know something about the fundamental workings of the human mind. Aristotle, he proffered that humans make decisions syllogistically. Now, a common example of a syllogism is this. Aristotle is a man, men are mortal, therefore Aristotle is mortal. Aristotle contended that humans make decisions based on rational thought or through a sense of reason to the limit of their intellectual capacity. Aristotle's view held sway for 2,000 years until this German philosopher named Friedrich Hegel, who lived from 1770 to 1831, came up with a viable alternative. Expanding on Aristotle, Hegel surmised that humans make decisions or form beliefs using a process of thesis, antithesis, and then synthesis. Here's a rough but functional example. If I say to you, Sunday's the best day of the week, that's the thesis. You analyze or evaluate the accuracy of my statement with a reflexive thought. Sunday's not the best day of the week. That's the antithesis. The antithesis is so reflective, it almost always happens subconsciously, without effort. And you don't really realize you're doing it. The synthesis of the two might be a conclusion that Sunday's good, but Friday's the best day of the week, in my opinion. Hegel contended that, starting around age 2, humans start building their tree of synthesized conclusions. Obviously, previous synthesis influence subsequent synthesis. Hegel's tree of thousands, if not millions, of synthesized conclusions is called the human dialectic. Hegel's work crowned him the father of modern psychology, so, this is pretty settled science. Hegel's got street cred. When succeeding synthesis is influenced by preceding synthesis, it's easy to see how early childhood or adolescent misinformation or misinformed or mistaken conclusions have an outsized influence as our individual dialectics take shape. As experiences are construed to fit the dialectic, blind spots develop. Over time, humans experience life in the context of their dialectics. We unconsciously interpret life's experiences through the lens of our developed dialectic. When life's experiences don't fit our dialectics don't automatically adjust. Our brains first try to construe the contradicting experience to fit our understanding. Or we conclude the experience is de minimis or a one-off occurrence. In many cases, we just flat out deny the facts. The last thing we want to do is adjust our dialectic. Adjusting our dialectic means admitting that we're wrong, and that comes with a whole slew of ramifications we'll talk about later. If you've ever watched the show Intervention, you can see what I mean. When a substance abuser in denial is confronted, you can witness the human dialectic at work. The tenacity displayed by a substance abuser in holding on to their dysfunction is nothing short of incredible. Their imaginations have constructed a powerful dialectic that they don't have a problem, despite overwhelming evidence. They can quit anytime they want, they just don't want to. Crippled by substance abuse, their dialectic is unable to make the correct association with the facts and draw the conclusions so obvious to everybody but them. And the older we get, the more powerful our dialectics become. The more elaborate our dialectics become, the harder they are to change. We've got too much invested in a point of view to be open to change. And that's not bad. That's not all bad. The right synthesis are just as immovable as the errors, and that's a good thing. But here's a very, very important fact about the human dialectic. As stubborn as it is, in the conscious mind, the human dialectic is fragile in the subconscious. In the subconscious, the human dialectic can be altered by mere suggestion using imagination. As a trained hypnotherapist, I've seen it happen in dramatic fashion. When trying to change a person's dialectic to address an eating disorder or to quit smoking or for whatever reason, the hypnotherapist first thing engages the imagination. You're walking down a set of stairs into a beautiful garden. You've never seen such beautiful plants. Or You're sitting on a beach at sunset with a warm breeze blowing across your body. You've never felt so relaxed. Remember in the movies watching a swinging watch back and forth? That's used to engage the imagination. You're getting sleepy. The purpose of engaging the imagination is to suspend belief. It's much like watching a science fiction movie. You're willing to suspend belief to be entertained. This suspending of belief through the use of imagination has proven incredibly effective in breaching what is called the critical facility. The critical facility is what separates the conscious from the subconscious. With access to the subconscious, mere suggestions can radically alter a human's dialectic. Social media, which provides a certain kind of escapism, alters the human dialectic in this way. I mean, relaxed, we ask ourselves if what we're looking at is real or fake, true or false. In the relaxation of the escapism, with our imaginations in gear, our critical facilities get breached and our dialectics become susceptible to mere suggestions. The rapid change in the collective American dialectic is a clear demonstration of this phenomenon. And if you think social media is effective in changing the human dialectic, wait until artificial intelligence matures. We all know AI can produce illusions. Our belief systems are suspended voluntarily when we experience AI-generated images. The real danger of AI is that the effect it will have on our imaginations and by proxy our dialectics. We can become convinced the false is true and the true is false and not even know it. AI has the potential to render us defenseless without us lifting a finger. So what's the antidote? Great question. My forthcoming book, The Most Important Thing You Don't Know, is about the answer to this question. The book's research spans theology, psychology, and philosophy. If what we're experiencing in America today is some dramatic, dominating aspect of human nature on display, it should have a long paper trail, and indeed it does. Obviously, self-awareness is essential. It's the cornerstone. And self-awareness starts with acknowledging that as a human being, about certain things, you're wrong. We all have blind spots. We all have biases. We all have things to learn about ourselves. I mean, hopefully you've learned something about yourself since this video started. What may not be so obvious is that discarding old ideas, old synthesis, leads to greater self-awareness more swiftly than learning new ideas. In fact, incorrect conclusions are much more debilitating than ignorance of new ideas. As Hegel's description of the human dialectic illustrates, incorrect synthesis beget incorrect synthesis. That makes the incorrect synthesis a much more urgent issue. So in your dialectic tree, how do you know what to let go of and what to hang on to? Another very good question. And there's a discipline within philosophy designed to address such quandaries. It's called epistemology. Epistemology is the study of how you know what you know. It considers what warps our interpretations of our experiences. As it turns out, there's one giant obstacle every human being must overcome as we try to have better imaginations, to make better associations, and to draw better conclusions. It's the sinister monster underlying the human thought process. It's the fundamental that pervades everything. It directs the imagination. It's the force that sets the agenda in our mental processes. And I look forward to telling you all about it and describing it in detail in part 2 of Imagination Therapy. If you enjoyed part one of this presentation, please hit the subscribe and like button, then share this information on your social media feed. Your friends will thank you for it. And it's very important to what I'm trying to accomplish here. So thank you very much, and I appreciate you stopping by.